All right, so we're continuing with Delial Akiyama. That last game has me buzzing. That was unbelievable defense. Um, with cards in 1, 4, 7, and 8, the only card Deli controls is the card in 8, which is obviously the least useful square to control in those positions. Delial finds the only tie in 3, a move I would not have considered. I missed that 5 was losing, but it would have taken me so long to get to 3. Interestingly, the last time I saw someone find an incredible square out of that kind of structure, which was the only tie, was Akiyama playing it against me in a chat tournament. Um, so these are sort of the two players capable of finding that kind of move and having it work and be correct. Unbelievable defense. Again, I would not have found this. Like I can't like be like, oh yeah, I would get that. No. It would have taken me like it would have been one of the last moves I calculated. With 5 moves left, I would not have had enough time to get there. Just I would have I would lose there. I would just straight lose. Not like I might hold, I might lose, some chance about. No, I'm just losing that game. So fantastic defense. Really cool to see. Really exciting to have evaluated incorrectly repeatedly throughout that video, and then see that no, Delial had all the lines right. Yeah, just what a game. One of the great games. I know people like decisive results and like wins over ties and whatnot, but what a game. So it might take them a little while to get going with the next set. They're going to be playing the open closed, but this is great. I'm having a great time with these games. These are great games. Uh, I'm gonna pause now, and we'll wait for the game to actually start. And I'll put away the food I made because if you've been following the last few videos, the whole meat eating has been a very important part of this saga. I always cook enough that I have lots of leftovers because I don't want to have to cook that often. I know some people like a new meal each night, and that's nice, but cook once, cook a lot of something tasty, and you have something tasty to eat for a while. That seems the ideal to me. All right, I'll be back momentarily. Your time. It's so weird saying this because for you it's no time at all. I could just like pause the video and come back, and what would you like? Why would you care that 5 minutes of time have passed 2 months ago? But it feels weird to me. I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I'm not very good at this. All right, we're back, and we're back with open. Okay, so this rule set is, and very importantly, same plus wall combo. No plus. And the important thing about no plus is it guarantees I will miscalculate something. Akiyama has gone with 6 7 6 6s and 5 5s and an 8 3 6 9. Akiyama tends to quite like 8 3 6 9 and 8 2 6 9 type cards, and yeah, I think it's a very legitimate thing to like, but also kind of a telling trait of his style and his card preferences. Not all players do, but it is not like it's one of the powerful types of cards, and people vary in which ones they like, and that seems to be the one he ends up liking. Must use 1 level 8, 2 level 5s, 2 level 2s, no rares or semis. Okay. Delhi has gone for 1 6 7 6 and a 7 6 3 4, a 9 9 corner, and some stuff with sevens on it. And I kind of like doing stuff with sevens. What games have we had on this rule set so far? We had a tie between Seto and Blizzard, where Seto got a nice advantage, but Blizzard held really well. Blizzard played very well that game. And Seto got an advantage because he could play a 4-5 corner that was actually already kind of difficult for Blizzard to take. One thing I notice is something like 5 3 2 5 or 2 5 5 3 and 3. Delhi's low level cards don't threaten it, and you might be able to force Delial's high level cards into an uncomfortable spot. Nines are pretty plus wallable for both players. There's not going to be too much else. I guess nines and sevens are the two numbers that we're going to see getting potentially plus walled this game. Other numbers, pretty unlikely. There's a chance you'll see a six, but probably going to be nines or sevens that are plus walled in relevant lines. Same kind of unlikely. You might think, okay, 5-3-2-5, 2-5-5-3, those cards set each other up for sames. Sure, but they need something else to hit, right? Let's say their twos touch, and is their five going to same anything? There's no other fives, there's no fives to the right or to the left in the rest of the hand. So that's not hitting a same. Are there any fives up or downs in the rest of the hand? No. Are there any threes left or right? There are a couple, yeah. So if they're set up in other ways, maybe they could play off the threes, or maybe other cards could play off their threes. But I think sames will happen less than you, dear viewer, think they will. So I think this, in effect, I think this is weirdly close to pure plus wall. And pure plus wall combo is, of course, not incredibly different from no rules. Here's the thing. Same is more relevant the more cards have similar numbers, and cards are going to have more similar numbers when they're close on level. This is an extraordinarily split up rule set, which is, I'm not complaining here, but this is a very divided rule set, which means sames become a lot less likely than usual. So we're kind of left with plus wall. I mean, there's a chance sames happen. You can certainly envision it happening, but it's easy to see a world where it just doesn't. So, as always, I love capturing. What happens if 1, 3, 7, 3, and 6? If 2, 6, 7, 6 in 8, we have a plus wall in 7. That's actually safe. So that's just like, no one, I mean, even if the computer tells you somehow that ties, like, who cares? No one's ever going to play that. So 6, 7, 6, 3, and 8 is the only recapture. And that can maybe be met by 7, 6, 3, 4 safely in 7. Weirdly, after all that I've said, that actually gives up a same in 5. So, egg on my face. I think that's still a pretty pleasant position for Delhi. And so I would strongly consider 1, 3, 7, 3, and 6. I think that is, I love capturing, but Alright, I'm gonna yell no plus at Delhi every few minutes. I've made him this, I've sworn this oath. I like capturing things, and I like when you draw higher level stuff out of the hand. You also have 8, 3, 6, 9, and 3 pretty well covered. If something like 2, 6, 7, 6, and 3, then you have a chance to play something like 2, 3, 2, 7 in 8, and you've gotten both your low levels out and just have a lot of power for the end of the game. I don't know. That's the kind of thing I'd be looking at. It's been a couple minutes, so we'll yell no plus at Delhi again. And yeah, so corner starters, I think, are the best starters in Triple Triad. We have statistical evidence to back this up. You can take any kind of history of chat tournaments and stuff and just look at what corners win. And corner starters have clearly the highest win rate in chat tournaments. I believe they also have the highest win rate in official tournaments, though I haven't kept as advanced numbers there. And the numbers I have are a little old, but should apply. It was by a clear margin, and they're the most chosen starters, and that's meaningful too, because sometimes you'll have a situation where something is done very rarely, but when it is done, it's very effective. And you might think, okay, that's the highest win rate, that's the highest thing. But it might be that it's only available very rarely. Say, for instance, people only played corners when they were safe and there was no setup against them. then corners would have a really, really high win rate because you'd only be doing the absolute best corners. But it wouldn't actually tell you that corners are all that viable because most of the time you're not going to have that option, right? So it wouldn't tell you that corners as a whole are best. It would tell you that because people play corners in a specific way, they are not played often, but the few times they are, they're really good. On the other hand, when something has the highest win percentage and is played the most, that usually indicates this is very stably, in general, the best type of starter. Though it can indicate other things, right? It could be that for completely irrelevant reasons, say beginners are drawn to other types of moves than corners, so the sample is kind of biased, right? The others have all these beginner games in them and corners don't. So it can be messy to interpret the statistics around stuff like this. But in general, if something is done the most and is the most successful, that's a pretty good indicator it is the best type of move. But the downside of corners is it's actually somewhat difficult to have recaptures. And that is why I've been drawn more and more to just like, what if we capture it? Let's just make sure. And even if I decide like 1, 3, 7, 3, and 6 isn't good, learning that like, okay, they don't have any setups if I ever take in 6, and they don't have great stuff to put in 8, can tell me new things about the position that eventually help draw me to other moves. And when I am a more active player and playing better, I could probably tell you what those moves I'm now drawn to are. But right now, I just sort of like capturing things. Uh, I'm a simpleton. Sometimes, you know. I mean, if you watch me play games, you can see I do some variety. But I think I also am a less varied player than most of the other top players. And I think that has changed over time. Um, like in my first really big run. Yay! We did it! I love it. What I was rooting for. All right, let's start putting this one into the database. This is the next set. Akiyama, Delial. I love taking things. Always take. It's hard to recapture. So this was very much the move I wanted. I think I sent that to Turds. Let's see if they did. Yep, I did send it. No plus, Turds notes, because he saw some setup potential, but Turds gives the line 26763. If you want to go 7663, 67632, you get hammered by 2553 and 5, but you don't because there's no plus. Akiyama, as always, plays, though he hasn't been, plays remarkably quickly, but there's just not a lot of choice here, right? There's not another clean way to recapture. 3 is pretty scary. And this sets up a same in 5. So this is, I thought, basically the forced move. And the thing about Akiyama is when there's a clear move, he will just correctly evaluate, yeah, this is the move I'm going to make, and he will play it. And when there's a clear move, Deli will spend 6.5 minutes and look at everything imaginable. And when there's a clear move, I will spend, 3 or 4 minutes trying to find some other option, but play it, in some in-between time. And that's another difference between us. Tezuka wanted 1, 3, 7, 3, and 3. Which maybe also made sense. Deli has already picked up 3499. I guess seeing that 3499 is now safe in 3. I was thinking you start 7, 6, 3, 4, and 7, and then after 5 you probably go 3, 4, 9, 9, and 3. But I guess this is likely to only be tying. Is it though? It's close to winning. All right, look at something like 7, 6, 3, 4, and 7. You're up 6, 4. 8, 3, 6, 9, and 5. Akiyama's up 6-4. 3, 4, 9, 9, and 3, 5, 5. Akiyama has no captures. Oh, I'm supposed to yell no plus. Akiyama has no captures. If he goes 2, 5, 5, 3, and 2, then 6, 7, 6, 3, and 1 wins. If he goes 2, 5, 5, 3, and 4, then 6, 7, 6, 3, and 1 wins. And 2, 6, 7, 6 is clearly the better sweeper to hold on to. It might not matter order, right? 3, 4, 9, 9, 3, or 7, 6, 3, 4, and 7 look about the same. But this is quite dangerous for Akiyama, right? And fundamentally, unlike one of the first games we saw, the very first game we saw of the Open, where Akiyama was in some trouble, but was really good at getting his cards to combine well to get out of it, there's no plus here. Now, there might have been no plus. No, I think there was no plus wall in his fantastic series to defeat Seto and Pride Wars 14 semifinals. I think this is really promising for Deli. I don't. So I might be missing something big here, but I think my instinct here, sort of what I've seen, is some combo of going in 3 and 7. You give up 5, but the score is 5-5 at the end. You have 2 vulnerable cards. They have 1, but nothing can be taken on the board. But which means it comes down to the cards in the hand, and wherever the opponent's cards go, you can take them without giving up recaptures. I think that's true. It's important you have 2, 3, 2, 7 in your hand at the end, because 2, 5, 5, 3, and 1 you cannot take with 6, 7, 6, 3 from 2, which is the square you'd need to take from. So Turds is pointing out maybe 2, 6, 7, 6, and 5 is better. 2, 6, 7, 6, 5 gets plus walled, though. This looks to me very promising for Deli. And I'm not sure the difference between 3 and 7 matters all that much. I'd probably start in 7. I would guess that gives fewer options to the opponent, but I'm not sure. I don't. My guess is this is not winning, but my guess is this is very close to winning. He has now picked up neither. What? Oh, what? What's happening? Okay, he's put Behemoth back down. I'm gonna yell no plus once a turn, and I already yelled it this turn. Now, when Deli plays something weird, Turds has said this many a time. If he sees like me play something weird, it means I'm screwed and something's gone wrong and things are not going well. But if you see Deli play something weird, there's always a good reason, and it's always at least interesting. Like, if I make this move, it's a mistake. If Deli makes this move, it could be great, it could be okay, it's gonna be very dangerous. Oh my god, what are we doing? What a lunatic! What a lunatic! Alright, well, Delial is truly thinking on another level right now, but who can say what level it is? I don't know what's going on. I never do. Oh dear. I have no idea what's going on. I'm gonna send messages at people and not try to think about this. Alright. What's happening here? Who knows? Who knows? Alright, gonna go, I'm just gonna see what happens. Akiyama will play quickly, that will solve all my problems. I won't have to think anymore. He's gonna use his low level card. Where? I don't know. Why? Who can say? Where does 2553 land? Maybe 7? Um, maybe not? I don't know. We're all having fun here. Just making moves. I really liked the look of 3 or 7. Um, I do think. Here's what I think this game. If we're counting shaky moves, I think Akiyama made a shaky starter in 9. And I really liked how Deli attacked it. But I think Deli's move in 1 has to be shaky. And I might be wrong, because again, Deli is the single hardest player to correctly evaluate his moves. Seto's really hard as well. Okay, Delial and Seto are by far the 2 most difficult players for me to evaluate their moves. Like, Akiyama makes lots of moves I don't expect, but I'm usually able to evaluate them pretty quickly and comfortably. Like, in a previous game, Deli started in 3 and Akiyama went in 1, which surprised me. Not a move I'd really have considered, but it was pretty clear quite quickly it was a very good move. So Delial and Seto are the players where I'm most likely to think that must be shaky, and have it not actually be shaky. That said, I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna trust my gut here. I'm gonna say shaky. Turds wants me to solver the other move. I'm always hesitant to solver while a game is being played, but given that that line is out of the way, maybe we'll go check. Maybe we'll go check. Especially because this is a move I've said I don't want to calculate. I don't want to think about it. It's too much for me. We can move on to other things. I have to remember to get... Ooh, no. This solver can't do this rule set. I don't have ready to go a good way to do it without plus. I have to go scrounge up the other one. All right. Well, maybe we can scrounge it up. Okay. There. What's it called? That's gonna be so slow. Nah, I don't. I don't have a solver ready to go with this right now. Or at least the solver I do have plays really, really slowly. So eventually I'll check that, but yeah. So, all right, whatever it is, I think this was shaky, but who knows? Who knows, man? All right, 2553 lands in 4. Now we can start thinking again. Does this move make sense? Probably. Who knows? Let's figure it out. All right, it's 5-5. If Deli plays, say, 7, 6, 3, 4, and 7. Then Akiyama's point is he will play 2, 6, 7, 6, and 5, not 8, 3, 6, 9, and he will win. Yeah. He'll be up 6, 4, and 8, 3, 6, 9 is guaranteed to capture. Yeah. So Deli cannot go 7. Now, if Deli goes 5, notably, Akiyama does not have a double capture himself in 7, but he doesn't always need one because Deli only has one way to single capture. So let's check Deli's single capture, or double capture. He has only one way to double capture. 3, 4, 9, 9, and 5, he leads 7, 3. However, Akiyama can play 2, 6, 7, 6, and 7, making it 6, 4, and 8, 3, 6, 9 is again guaranteed a double capture. So I think the move that Deli should be considering is 2, 3, 2, 7 in 3. I'll yell no plus, just because it's his turn. But 2, 3, 2, 7 in 3. If Akiyama goes in 2, he either captures nothing, in which case if Delial goes 5, he ties easily. There's no plus. Or he plays 8, 3, 6, 9, in which case Deli has a number of ways to do captures, but let's say 7, 6, 3, 4, and 5 ties. If Akiyama goes in 5, he will lead 6, 4, but Deli can always capture from 2 and tie. Therefore, critical is going 7. But against any move in 7, Deli then plays the double capture in 5, and Akiyama will have a double capture in 2, and that should tie. So I think 2, 3, 2, 7, 3 should tie here. I'll send that to turds. And he has played 2, 3, 2, 7, and 3. I missed it. 2, 3, 2, 7, 3. 2, 6, 7, 6, 7. 3, 4, 9, 9, gonna go in 5. 8, 3, 6, 9, gonna go in 2. 7, 6, 3, 4, gonna be left over. That is the only tie, right? Remember, no plus, so not 7, 6, 3, 4, and 5, which would otherwise, of course, be quite appealing. Alright, he has picked up the correct card. These are good games. This is a well played match. This is a very well played match. Congrats to like both players. Obviously, one of them is going to come out of this feeling like dog shit, and the other one's going to come out feeling great. And I know I'm not capable of doing this myself, so I can't ask it of others. But I wish we could sort of like, you have that competitive drive. You want to win. I wish we could also like, it was easier to just go, yeah, those were some great games. They won and they played great, but I played great too, and we're not so good at doing that. But as fans, it's easier to do, right? If you're in it and you lose, it feels terrible. But as a fan, you can be like, wow, that was awesome. These are good games. What the hell Deli's doing in 1? I don't know. I liked Akiyama's try in 4. That was a nice creative way to use 2, 5, 5, 3. Another good game. Another fun time. I guess it's just very likely we're going to make a million videos. Good thing I'm completely free today, so I guess I'm just going to be making videos all day of this one match. But we'll call this one here. I want to say again, if you missed it, because it was a long video. Oh, I think we're stopping today. Um, yeah, so we are stopping. Really good games, and I'm excited to see what comes next. And if you didn't catch it, the second game of the last video is superb.